Hey everyone, I am back, and you know what else is back? Springfest is also back this week. Get a nice little break, but we had a really big tournament going on in Japan as well, and that is Daivangasai. That is not just one tournament, but it's like a festival of tournaments, right? Especially for every single Bushiroad card game. And that means there is a lot of Vanguard tournament results, including the culmination of some big, long-running, like, kind of tournaments, like WGP, right? Finals for WGP happen there. And we have the results. So let's just get right into it. Let's start off the big one, the WGP Standard, right? This was won by Alpaca, which is a well-known player. We've heard his name quite a few times. And he was bringing Gravidia. So that's pretty crazy. Gravidia, cool, right? Very cool. Second place, though, was Panpas, also with Gravidia. So there's like two Gravidias taking the top spots. And in third place, there's Shunsuke with Bastion, and then fourth place, Enna with Magnolia. So let's kind of take a look at these decks, right? Gravidia kind of was pretty big in the beginning of the kind of season, and in the middle, they just had consistent results, but then kind of disappeared after like Kyrie came out and just like people taking a bunch of different decks. But again, Gravidia just coming back, showing people why it's good. And this is the Gravidia world build. You can see it on the right here, right? You got the one world. Only the 6 media, but it's okay. You got the 4 big medias now. I think the tech, right? The unique part of like Alpaca's deck is actually just the 2 Shurgos, right? 2 Shurgos. Normally we see a lot of people only run 1, but he decided to take 2, which is quite interesting. Then in second place we had the another Gravidia. This was a pure Gravidia, but it's actually running something a bit different. It's a pure Gravidia build. But running the new, I can't say the name. It's the Obsidicates, something like that. But it is the dual nation card that you're not usually it combos with Eva, but the first skill just works, right? It just works. If you have cards in your auto zone, if you have like 3, you get 10k. So that's pretty cool. You hit big. But it's just like you have to be great, like very grade 3 focused this deck if you look at it, right? Got 3 of that to get power, then you got this to make meteors while still gaining some kind of power. And then you also have back we've got the Stenna that gets like kind of power and shield. So a bit more like mid-game focus compared to like the reworld that can kind of pop off immediately. But it's still a very, very solid deck that just does what Gravidia does best, which is drop rocks, right? Drop rocks. Now, moving on, in third place, we have the Bastion, right? The Bastion, this is, again, we've seen this kind of Bastion build from way back. This one is actually just converting some of the OG Bastions into the order, the fork, right? I think in English, the fork, as well as converting, I think, one of the 20k shield grade 3s as well into another fork as well. But otherwise, the rest of it, you've got the Dark Strains, you've got the Lag Rails, and you've got the pop-off potential, right? So pretty cool. And then the Magnolia in the 4th place, the Tried and True, unfortunately took to 4th place only. Shows that it can be defeated, but this is a pretty standard Zorgnolia build. You got the 3-3 split here, then you got the inlets, and then you just got like 4 Panthers. That's again rising up in popularity again. But a heavy 7 draw count too, which is pretty insane, But yeah, very, very solid deck. Very solid deck. But there wasn't just standard that happened. We had V-Prem as well. So V-Prem, we had Yun take first place with Grand Blue. Then we got Pashut with Aquaforce. And then we had Shin with Link Joker. Right, Link Joker. And then for the 4th place, we had Drift Yaro with Gold Paladin. So let's kind of take a look at this. So here we have the Grand Blue deck, but surprisingly, it is not actually Night Rose. It is Beatrice. It is Ghosties, which is not expected. Let's put it that we've heard the talks about how good Night Rose is in V-Prem at the moment. People are saying, okay, we gotta take, we're going to Springfest. We're taking Night Rose. Not so much in Japan. They took Beatrice, actually a 12 draw Beatrice. You look at this, 4, 12 draw, no crits, right? So very, very interesting here. Like they have access to Prism and Luat. Let's just throw this out there, especially Luat, right? We saw Gurgits also do very, very well in the meta, in like the VMC. I think when like 4 people in top 4 took Gurgit, but here's the Ghosties. Right? So pretty insane. Then we have the Aquaforce here. This is pretty much your Thavis build, but now you have Adelaide as the PR. So now you have like slightly more multi-attack, which is pretty cool. right? Which is pretty nice. So overall, the deck just got better. Right now, like, you might be going, do I take this to Springfest? Yeah, you can. But you know, when you have Adelaide, wow, even better pick, right? Even better pick. So pretty cool. And then in third place, we had this. This is an interesting one. We have Link Joker. And normally when we think of Link Joker in V, right, you think it's Messiah. But this one is actually Chaos Messiah. Now, we've had, like, Chaos Messiah hybrids a lot in the past, right? But nothing really super popped off, you know? But this one is actually taking the third place, which is actually very, very interesting. The Chaos is actually pretty cool because against, like, Axel's, Chaos Breaker just wrecks face, right? Taking away Excel's, insane value. Actual insane value. Slows down the game so much, you can start snowballing pretty hard. Basically, taking any kind of marker is good value, like, really. But taking Excels demolishes. So, like, something like a Gurgit will suffer very, very hard. Especially now, you only have one Percival. So you could accelerate and then just lose everything. And then your Gurgit just sits there, feeling bad. And then later on, you know, you've drawn a few more cards, you've got a huge amount of Force Mongers, let's just go into them side and start popping off the multi-attack. Nothing much they can do, right? So overall, pretty cool. I think this is pretty interesting. Less to do with, like, you know, the random pop-offs of Messiah and just going, oh, Burst Bomb, boom, I win, right? But more like you can play a solo control game, but also sometimes just to high roll the crap out of your opponent when you just, like, drop a Volco turn 1 and go boom, right? It's time to win, right? So pretty interesting. And in fourth place, we had the Gurgit here, right? I think we've seen it a lot now, and here it is. It's Gurgit. What do you guys think? It's pretty good. Especially in Japan. They love Gurgit in Japan, right? So pretty nice. Anyway, let's also move on to premium. There was a premium tournament too. It was first place was taken by Yamato playing Oracle Think Tank, right? Then in second place was Potepan playing Gold Paladin. And then in third place was Baruto playing Link Joker, and then fourth was Katsuo playing Shadow Paladin. Let's kind of take a look at these lists. So first, we have the Oracle Think Tank. When I saw this list, this reminded me of, like, Mo's list, I think, back in 2019. Because I study Mo's OTT list, because OTT is one of the few decks I own. But yeah, this is pretty cool. And he's kind of splashing the purple as well, I think, like, just for the ultimate guard restrict. But yeah, this is kind of cool because you use the Tsukuyomi ride line, and then you have this card from way back. It's Harutsuki, and you can kind of just, when you stride with this, you give your stride kind of like an on hit, right? And you can salvage a grade 3. So basically, you can salvage her and just keep salvaging other grade 3s. But now you can also salvage Heal Guardians, right? Which is an extra bonus. Very, very nice. You could also discard multiples of her to give multiple instances of on hit to get more back, right? Which is, like, this is extra, like, you also give your Vanguard plus 5k, which is, that's kind of cool. You're like, plus 5k on a Vanguard, you know, it's already hitting like 26, 27, 28, what's the point, right? But this comboing with something like an Ichikishima, which is already very, very hard to guard, right? You're like, oh, in that case, then things got real. Or even on a Momo, which can restand and get, like, the double value. So pretty cool. I do like Harutsuki. I mean, it's got some really nice potential there. What kind of puzzles me, though, is that he's running a very, very weird ride line. So he's got the 0, the 1, the V0, and the V1, and then he's got the grade 2, right? This old grade 2. What I'm thinking is his plan is that because the grade 2 is able to soul charge 2, he can randomly high roll and soul charge one of his grade 3s here, and then be able to, like, not soul charge a grade 3, but just soul charge another Tsukuyomi, right? And immediately start popping off, like, just stride straight up to 3, and then just do the pop off, right? And that is very, very scary. That is, when Tsukuyomi is able to just double trigger you, that is basically better than, like, a stride turn. That is like superior riding without superior riding. It's like some kind of new kung fu technique, right? But this is that's the only interesting thing I see. Like, normally you can just ride the V grade 2 and kind of just grade 2 game as well. Also, you can kind of but with this you can also kind of sit there and, like, make more of the stack, I guess, which is kind of okay. He's got the grade 2 here that can salvage things from the bottom that he wants. If anything went to the bottom that he really needs, put it on the bottom, get it back. So that's cool. That's cool. The rest of the deck is just kind of otherwise just getting the 3s that you need. One interesting thing is this one, right? This is Totone, right? This one is a new D card. I don't know. I feel like the value for this card is quite low. I guess it's okay, but what are you actually wanting to bottom deck as well? In like the current format. So it's like an interesting tech. I don't know if I like super want to put it in. I think like running something else like a Popo would be pretty good. Just having 2 Popo is pretty nice because it's basically unguardable with Ichikishima. And then like with this deck, you can literally hit your like 10 cards in deck very, very quickly. Just with all the tools that you have right now, you can just hit it really quickly. So you don't really have to worry about some different game plans. But otherwise, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting having all these different combos that your opponent is maybe not aware of, right? In the meta. So like just randomly, surprise, surprise, right? Bam. I've got an on like, what? How are you getting all your cards back? How's your hand so full, etc. Right? That's pretty cool. You got the Wakahirume as well, just to put over. So a lot of cool things, cool little gimmicks you can kind of do. So pretty interesting deck. Basically stuffed everything. A lot of one-offs, right? A lot of one-offs. So yeah, interesting, cool. The second deck, I think a lot of people look at this second deck and go, it's just another Gold Paladin, how boring. I think this deck is pretty cool, because it feels like someone's done Gold Paladin correctly, right? When I look at this Gold Paladin list, I go, oh wow, okay, it's the Gurgit list, which is pretty nice. Gurgit, you can kind of tank a bit better. You still have the Percival's that you can play. You can kind of scale as well. So it's not bad. Like, it's not bad. You also have the Ezel Superior Rider, which is cool. But also, just not seeing the Overtrigger means you have a deadly finisher, a really, really deadly finisher in Ultima. So you can just go into Ultima, boom, win, right? Cricket, win, make a big field. Also incorporating some D cards. So remember, this is the new Arsene from the new set 5, and yeah, this is just like basically gives your opponent, gives your cards kind of resist. They just can't be. It's not resist, right? But it is basically resist. So yeah, it protects your other cards is a better way of putting it. So you can go into your Ultima with this out, and there is not much they can do to like really influence your field, right? Unless they have like a way that doesn't target, then sure. But if they have targeting cards like on their G Guardians, like a Denial Griffin, then no. So you have some very, very scary attacks coming in, right? And then you've got the rest of the Gold Paladin engine is quite just normal. But it's just, I like the fact that, they've incorporated some interesting text, and they've gone the way of going, okay, let's go for the win con with Ultima. Because I've seen a lot of Gold Paladins from Japan who opt to take the Amata no instead. And I'm just going, where is the win con? Is it just to go into Glorious Reigning and hope for the best? It doesn't sound that good. So this one, I think, definite tops. Very, 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 very solid idea going into the deck, and coming second, I think it just pretty much worked out pretty well, right? The third place deck was actually a Link Joker, and this was actually Chaos. Now, I think I read a tweet from this player who said they were kind of in a rush to build a deck, but it turned out pretty well, right? Which, yeah, of course. One thing about Link Joker is that it really punishes players who don't know how to play against Link Joker, and this is, or don't prepare for Link Joker as well. And we've seen Link Joker be very, very, at least the Chaos versions of Link Joker be very, very successful in Japan, because I feel like maybe a lot of players just don't know how to deal with it. And when I mean like deal with Link Joker, it's not like taking cards to go against Link Joker. It's just right now, every single deck basically, well, a lot of the stronger decks in the metagame can basically deal with Link Joker if you play it correctly, if you play the matchup correctly. But, a lot of people might just not have played against Link Joker much, and if they make mistakes, then suddenly it can spiral out of control very, very quickly. So I'm not really sure on like, the way I think about it is like premium in Japan, not as big as standard, so something like a Chaos, going around, you probably don't test that much against it. And that's perfectly fine, right? If you are the Link Joker player, you play to win. If you know if your opponents can't really deal with Link Joker, then you play it. It's like playing a fighting game. If your opponent cannot block your low kick, you just low kick all day, and your opponent will complain, "Chief, that's just how it is, right? That's just how it is." But yeah, this Link Joker deck, very. I wouldn't say it's like revolutionary or anything. This old card. It basically, when it's placed on the Guardian Circle, you can unlock a locked card and it gets plus 5k, right? So it's 10k shield, but then again, everything that is V is 10k shield. You can unlock one of your own cards, I guess, which would be pretty cool. You can also unlock one of your opponent's cards in the battle phase and then use V Chaos Breaker's effect to like steal a force marker or steal things, right? Which is pretty nice. It feels a bit gimmicky. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's nice, but at the same time, it's like not nice. I don't know. I feel like this slot could be used for better things. I'm really interested on how he manages soul as well. I mean, he does have some soul stuff. He's running like 4 closes here, right? He's got 4 closes. That's a lot of soul. I mean, you have Craven Claw, you have your crits, of course, they go to soul, but usually it's not enough. You know, it's sometimes not enough. Otherwise, the rest of this deck is pretty just pretty straightforward. Straightforward chaos deck. And then in 4th place, we have a Luard. Now this Luard is strange. This is a V Luard, right? This is a V Luard build. I feel like when I look at a lot of these lists, I'm not sure how hard Japan plays the grade 2 game, because a lot of these decks just feel like they ride straight up to grade 3 and just do a big turn, which is very different from a lot of the playstyles that kind of the West does. So that's kind of interesting to see. And this deck just kind of does that, right? You just, okay, am I going to play the grade 2 game? No, I'm not. I'm going to just ride straight up to Dragheart, go into Dragfall, not Dragfall, Drag Driver. And then like just go back to Heart, and then I have 3 force markers. It's time to win, right? And then just continue playing the game from there. And then we can see, you know, the split in the mains. The new main is very cool. The new main is cool. In a way, I think like because you have the Nemain goes to soul as well, you can I think you can just accelerate. You're gonna accelerate the Luard and then just get crits immediately. So I guess that's a plus. I guess that's pretty cool. You run that many you run that many grade 3s as well. So you can just pop off. Right? You can just pop off on the grade 3 turn without straining. So I guess when you think about it like that way, right? Pretty nice. But otherwise, yeah, pretty cool list. Interesting. Some of these lists are pretty cool. Right? Pretty interesting to see. Then moving on, we have a trio tournament as well. This was won by Shirley, Motchard, and Ryo. So all kind of very well-known players too. And they brought, this was at Fescale was actually available for this as well. They brought Magnolia, and this one is running 1 copy of the Moth Girl, Maple. Maple's pretty cool. When you ride a grade 3 or higher, you just call it out for free. So nice, right? Extra body. Then they also brought a Bruce, right? Good old Bruce, just doing Bruce things, get, you know, do big turns and bash. And then the third player was playing Shaman King. So Shaman King, very. It got more support. They actually got more support, and it's shown a pretty good result, right? It's shown some pretty good results. They're pretty insane, right? You guys should look into this deck when it comes out in English. Then in 2nd place, they had 1st and 2nd place. We had Tawara and Chapao and Shoal, and they brought Magnolia, right? Again, tried and true Magnolia, Zognolia. Then they had a Kyrie. This one has a more friend-focused build, a lot more friend cards in there. And then they brought a Nirvana. Now this is interesting. So they brought Nirvana. They run one of the kind of overdress discard draw 2 overdress draw, I guess. But because Fescale was available, you can technically run the new grade 1 that lets you go straight up to Maha, but they opted to not run it, which is kind of interesting. I know a lot of people playing that day did run that card just because, you know, they're like, I want to play Nirvana now because I can just pop off and win, right? But they decided not to, so that's interesting. But they came 2nd, so yeah, they did well, right? So overall, pretty cool results, and you know, hopefully we get some Prem Collection results soon. That'd be pretty nice. But yeah, that was it for Daivangasai, all the big kind of tournaments. Let's kind of move to Portugal, where they had both Standard and V-Prem tournament going on. And in Standard, they had basically a big split. Look at this. 2-2-2-2, 1-1-1, right? that's pretty crazy. And then in terms of how they split, we had Fun and Glory taking first place with Lauren Roll, and then we had Seraph and then Barrow Magnus in second place. We have Beno with Magnolia, Seraph, and Bastion. And then in third place with Wildcards Part 1 with Gravidia, Magnolia, and Barrow Magnus. And then in fourth place we had Triover with Bastion, Mahanavana, and Flagberg. Right, Flagberg, okay. So, again, I'm just going to go through all the kind of interesting decks. Something like a Lauren Roll, although there might be some different cards. I'm not going to really go into it. But if you want them, again, thanks to Fuzzy Paradox making these nice graphics, there is also the deck code in the top left-hand corner. So that's where you can go if you want to look at a deck that I didn't cover. But let's kind of start off with the first place Seraph build. You can see there is some interesting cards in here where, you know, people don't normally run it in the other builds in Japan. We have the Taser Lage, right? Taser Lage. Pretty cool card. You know, you can look at this deck and it's much more defensive focused in a way, right? You got the maxed out Cuff Spring and also the Macarite. So you have that end game kind of deck out potential there. But then you have the Stall, right? You got the Stall with the Melty Hearts and Melting Heart, and then with the Taser Lage as well, just to kind of slow down the game. So that's kind of interesting to see. And then the Barrow Magnus list they ran also is a much more standard Barrow list, but they ran 3 Swirler and 4 of the Gungaram. And normally I think a lot of people just cut out the Gungaram now, but they decided to stick with it. So I guess it's a Soul Charge 1. So it's Soul Charges 1. It's Soul Charges 1. Then the second place Seraph deck also brought the Taser Lage as well. So I'm wondering, maybe this is just something that Portugal maybe likes, or just new players in general like this in Europe. Which is interesting, I guess. Pretty cool. And then we had a Bastion. This one is just like a straight up meta Bastion, right? All business, no jokes. Let's get down and slam, right? So I just include that just so you can see people take Bastion seriously, right? Bastion's a serious deck. Then the Gravidia lists here as well. This is just a very standard Gravidia list as well. This one ran 4 Rick, right? So this just has like an on-hit pressure, but otherwise just your Gravidia world list. And then we had another Barrow Magnus list here, which this one is just a straight up standard one, right? Just a standard Barrow Magnus. And then we had a Nirvana. This is the Nirvana, just kind of a straightforward, normal overdress, legit Nirvana, no gimmicks as well. And then lastly, we had the Flagberg. So, Flagberg, I know a lot of players have been saying, Kai, Flagberg is good now. You know, you can't underestimate it. It's not as clunky as it was. Yeah, maybe it's like the Aquaforce of the West, right? I mean, it does look like the Aquaforce of the West. Randomly tops, the Maelstrom, right? The Maelstrom of the West, right? Just Glory randomly tops. Is Flagberg going to be the one? It could be getting there. Not gonna lie. I think before I said it was the Festclay card that game, but people correct me and said it was the promo. Yeah, there is some good cards coming for this, right? Let's not forget, Inlet Pulse is built for this deck. Stolen by Magnolia, of course, but it's still for this deck. And Inlet Pulse does give a really, really nice bonus to the reality, the freeness of just getting these extra attacks. And so yeah, this will get scarier as time progresses. Pretty cool. And then in VPrem we have again, it's like 2-2-2-2, 1-1, right? 2 Grand Blue, 2 Dark Red, 2 just. Let's just look at the top 4 breakdown. So Trigger Warning, right, came first with Grand Blue, a Mon, it seems, and then a Fenrir, and then Violent came second with a Spino Driver Tachikaze, then a Night Rose, and an Ange. And in the third place of Naya with Malkuth Melik, right? Malkuth Melik. Then we got Vanguard and Shaharot. And then fourthly, a Tall, White, and Mao with Spectral. Okay, it's back. Then we got Fortuna, right? Fortuna, and then the new, what was it? I think I just call it Bloody Dogma, right? But weaker. I think it's a Raptor. The only dinosaur I remember now is the guy with the Glock, right? Just that guy, right? Unforgettable. Let's kind of look at some of these lists here. First, we have that Amon list. So remember Shaharot? Throw that thing into third place. We have Amon. For emotes, just straight up, just threw away the shower up place and put in the ones, and it's just good to go. So again, pretty cool. Then we have this list. This has basically everything. We got the Fenrir, the Vanguard, but then hey, guess what? It's Yatagarasu. And then basically, I feel like this player just put in all the cards he liked. You know, all the cards he liked in every single rarity. Just to make sure he's got everything. He's got like 3, and then the 3 of this, 3 of this, and 2 here. Everything's in this thing. Everything's in this. Even the triggers are everything. So like, you see how long this one is? It's crazy. It's crazy. And then we had the Spino Driver. Look at this. Spino Driver randomly pops down a Savage Mercenary sometime. Just wrecks face. It's just that easy, guys. It's just that easy. Then we have an Ange list. So this Ange list was just kind of like, I remember building Ange at the beginning, and this was basically kind of the list that you come up with. You know, you got the Pelsis, but then you got the Relenkas, and you got the Faceives, and they basically, you just get copies of them, go restand, cool, right? But now, since other stuff got nerfed, this also gets to run Ellie. Yeah, isn't that great? You know, Ellie, remember that card? Yeah. Cool. And then we have Malkuth Melik. This just looks like a pretty standard Malkuth Melik deck now. Right? It's weird saying it's standard, but I feel like the way to build it is just pretty straightforward. But you can just randomly pop off and get big field, protect 2. All right, protect 2. Let's not forget protect 2. Yeah, scary. And then we have the Spectral deck. So this one is weird to me though. I go Spectral probably is still pretty good, right? Because you know, one Percival, yeah, feels bad. But you know, only one Aglavale as well. That's, even though Percival's at 1, I still think you want more Aglavales, because Aglavale is just a good card, right? It just feels like a great card. So I don't know. I feel like one Aglavale is wrong, but yeah, they went with one Aglavale. And then we have this Fortuna list with a Yatagarasu as well. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And then the last deck we're going to see today is just the, well, let's kind of call the correct. So it's Raptor Colonel. So it's basically just Gluttony, and just restand. But we still have the good stuff, right? Like the Savage Mercenary, but we only have one Savage Shooter. So that's kind of, I feel like you kind of want more Savage Shooters, right? Savage Shooter is just a really good card for touchy card. But yeah, that is all the list today. Let's kind of just finish it off with the Nation Domination map. For Europe, we have Portugal. Europe is so, how do you say it? It's like consistent, right? Brancade domination everywhere. Look at this. Brancade. This, all the Brancades are just doing very well for standard. Will Spain, France, Hungary, UK be the same? We'll just all be how do you call it? Brancade? I don't know. But then even so, we also have the Megalonicas, right? Look at this. Everywhere is just Megalonica. And I guess it makes sense because, you know, Grand Blue and like Bermuda Triangle is just such a good combo, right? So maybe the entire place will turn blue. That's pretty much it. But that is all. This one's been a long one, a big tournament to talk about. I did talk about a lot of things too. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And I'll see you guys next time. All right, bye.